As my dad, who was in the Air Force, said, proper planning prevents poor performance.
Right.
And so all those P's. So
Right.
anyway.
Proper planning
Prevents
poor
performance.
Welcome to Run of Show, the podcast that goes behind the scenes of the event industry, one story at a time. Today, I'm here with Carolyn Grawi. She is the Executive Director of the Center for Independent Living of Northwest Florida. Thank you, Carolyn, for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Tanya. It's so exciting to be here.
I am so happy to talk to you because we just had the Sapphire Soiree, and there was a lot that went into that. And so
absolutely.
We're going to talk about that too. First, tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you a Pensacola native?
I am not a Pensacola native. I've been here almost 8 years, but I am originally, most of my life from Michigan, and I ran a Center for Independent Living up in Ann Arbor before I came down here to Pensacola. And so I did that for a lot of years, and I am a social worker, and I have been working with people with disabilities for over 30 years now. And I like to make a difference in people's lives. I like to connect people to the resources that they need and try to help make a difference in everything I do every day. And it makes me very happy to do that and help people be able to be connected to the services and resources that they need to be successful in everything that they do every day.
Yeah. Fulfilling work.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very, very wealthy right here. So it makes me feel good.
What originally brought you to the Pensacola area?
To be warm.
Yeah, Michigan's cold, right?
Yes. I have 2 children, and my youngest had decided not to go to school in Michigan. And I decided, well, then I should look around the country to find doing some rewarding work to do similar to what I was doing in Ann Arbor. And I found this position down here, and I came to Pensacola. And so it was just an opportunity that was available at the same time that I was looking. And so I came here in 2018. And
2018.
Happy to be here
for a good little while.
Yeah.
I love it. And you love it, and you're staying, right?
And I'm kicking around the time here. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
You're the Executive Director of the Center for Independent Living. And tell me a little bit about that role.
Yeah, so we work with people with disabilities of all ages, all backgrounds, all disabilities, and we try to work with all different industries to make sure that people with disabilities have that opportunity to be successful in any type of industry, experience, activity that they're engaged in. And so as you can imagine, there's a lot of events that people take part in, no matter where they may be. And so we have a lot of opportunities to have a little bit of interplay with events and activities that take place in town.
Right. Like I said, you had this Sapphire Soiree recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a big hit. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of excitement for that event for ourselves. I mean, 45 years of doing work with people with disabilities is not a small amount of time.
Right.
So that was very exciting. And for us, it was a fundraising event. So for us, that was a big deal because that's not what we do every day. But the idea of having a space that's inclusive of everybody and having that opportunity for everybody to participate is a big deal. We want everybody to be able to participate.
Right.
So no matter what the industry is and what kind of event you're going to have, we want everybody to be able to participate. So that's really important to us to make sure that people can participate no matter what their experience in life may be.
Right.
But for us on a daily basis, we want that to happen for individuals as well. And so that's how we're involved and engaged. So we do different things in that way.
This one, of course, because it was put on by CIL, was accessible, but not all events are as accessible.
So if you arrive someplace and you can't get in the building, or you can't use the bathroom, or there isn't accessibility to yourself because of the food that's served, or in order to get your plate of food, or if you can't get in between the tables, or if you weren't able to hear what was being spoken or participate in the activities that are taking place at the event, et cetera, those would be things that are not accessible at a space. But when you go somewhere and you can just enter the space, where you can park at the space, or when you're able to interact with all the guests, when you're able to know that the environment is going to be welcoming to you because there's not chemicals or there's not spaces that are going to be preventing you from participating, then that's what we call an inclusive space. And so we try to help make sure that that takes place.
I like that you mentioned about being able to get between the tables, because that's one of the things that Shelby mentioned, even just in any regular event, is as a planner or coordinator, to sit down at the table yourself and see how far you are from the table next to you. I mean, that's
absolutely.
Because you want to be able for people to be able to get around. Yeah.
So I happen to be a person who's visually impaired, so I use a cane. And when it's someplace where I'm not familiar with, and if I have to go up and down stairs or if it's dark outside. But what's really nice about my cane is that because I happen to be a person who's just over 5 feet tall, my cane happens to be for myself about 4 feet tall. And so the space that you need to have is about 3 feet. So I know if I close my cane to about the 3 foot level, that's how far you need between every table. So for me, I just make it that length and I just know that's about the space that it needs to be. So it's pretty easy. Or somebody can have a tape measure with them and then they can know. You could set the tape measure to 36 inches. You need it to be at least 32. Well, if you think about it, if you do everything 32, then you're at the minimum. So what we try to think about is how do we make it universally accessible? If we make it a little bit more, you know that things are going to move around. If you make it a little bit more than what you need, then you allow for that extra when you need it to be that way.
Breathing room.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's just one example. Would be the space between tables, and absolutely. And Shelby sets up a lot of events, so she knows that. For sure. And sometimes tables are different sizes or heights. So if you're going to set up cocktail tables and you have tall tables, you want to make sure you have some that are lower. And why is that? Because some people might be using a wheelchair, or some people might not be able to stand as long. And so they may need to be able to sit. Being able to give those options for people to have choices. Being able to have different types of liquids that might be available. Some people are going to be consuming alcohol. Some people might not be able to because of medications. There's different reasons for why people need different things at different places. So we think about, what does that look like?
Is there any event that sticks out in your mind where they could have done better?
Well, rather than naming the event,
let's not shame anyone. But what is? Maybe tell me, what is it that the thing that they could have done better at the event?
So for us, what we do for sure is we try to make sure that nobody has to climb up on stage. So if you think about that, when we hold an event, nobody has to climb up on stage. If there's not a ramp to get on stage, then nobody goes on stage.
That makes sense.
So for some folks, they will say, well, why didn't you have a stage? Well, we don't have a stage if it's not going to be accessible. We just don't do it. Then there is no stage. And then that way there's nobody going on stage, right? We typically try not to have a podium. And if you ever see Carolyn someplace, I just won't be behind the podium. If the people that are also with me can't go behind the podium, then I don't go behind a podium. But I will be seated with others so that the person who may not be able to stand can also be seated. Or to have the podium lower so that that person could also be able to use the podium. And then that way it's easier for others. But you may have somebody who needs to have the information up higher for them. Well, you want to make sure that that person has access to. So you try to find out what people need to know. And so you ask a lot of questions first.
I was going to say, how do you figure all these things? Questions.
So you ask questions first. What works for you so that you know that ahead of time. For me, I need large print. And I was sharing with somebody else recently that's going to be speaking at an event. I said, at that event, it is always dark, always. And everybody else says, oh, I don't need large print. I can see. And I try to explain to them, yes, you may have a sight that you think you can see, but it is dark there. You cannot see. So if you do not print it large and bold for yourself, you will not be able to see. So if you do it ahead for yourself and you make sure you have lots of it in large print and in bold print, because even if you do it in large print and you don't do it in bold, you're not going to be able to pick it up off the paper. It will not be there. I promise you it won't be. You will not be able to see it. So I try to prepare others. The other option is to allow people to see the environment ahead of time. So as an example, myself and my colleague, who is our president, we were going to have to do a presentation. And we knew that the environment was going to be unusual for both of us, but specifically for that other individual because they had not been there before. And I said, let's ask to see it ahead. Oh, I'll be fine. No, let's go see it ahead. Let's go walk the space ahead. Now, walk or roll, depending on if the person's using a mobility device. Go experience it ahead. Go know what that's like so that you can be prepared.
Right.
Whether that's the sound system, that's the walking space, that's carrying what you have to carry, that's knowing where your environment is, knowing what all of that is ahead of time.
Ahead of time.
Prepare.
Ask lots of questions.
Yes. As my dad, who was in the Air Force, said, proper planning prevents poor performance.
Right.
And so all those P's. So anyway.
Proper planning
prevents poor performance. Yes. 4 P's.
4 P's. The 4 P's of a successful event.
Yes.
Okay, talking about successful events, tell me what was one of your most favorite events that happened and what made it so special?
What made it so special was doing that preparation, making sure that everybody had that opportunity for their input, making sure that persons were prepared ahead of time, that they felt comfortable, that they knew that that opportunity for their input was there, and that they were considered, that they had the type of food that they could eat, that they could speak, that they could meander the space safely. There was a quiet space where they could go to debrief during the conference so that they could get away from the noise, and they were able to get away from that space when they needed to. And then they were also able to have the size print that we needed when we were doing the presentation. They were able to also ask questions appropriately during the time, so they gave time for that, so that there was an opportunity for people to participate and engage in the event, and then also ask questions. It wasn't just like, hurry up, get it done, and then you're all done. You know, the speaker spoke, and then people were able to interact with the speaker as well. So that was really an enjoyable time for folks to be able to then get pictures with the speaker and be able to interact in the step and repeat space and those kinds of things.
Do you like step and repeats? Do you think they're a good addition to an event?
I think that they can be really a great addition to an event when they aren't just thrown in.
Right. This is your moment to shine, right? Yeah. And then post it all over social media with all the hashtags and everything.
Right.
Are you personally a fan of going to the step and repeat and getting your picture done?
Well, I like to get my picture done, I guess, over at them if it's going to be utilized.
Right.
If I'm just going to go get my picture there for no reason, then why? So, but if it's going to be used for some reason,
how would you utilize those pictures?
I think that if there's going to be a gallery that's posted by the event, which I think that we could ourselves, CIL could do a better job with that, as well as others.
Always do a better job.
And I think that it would be great as well for even when the companies that are using these galleries, or not the galleries, when the companies that are doing these events, they tell you to put your phone number in. Well, how about we put our name in too? Because a lot of times there's guests at events that the event hosts don't necessarily even know who's there. Wouldn't it be nice if they knew that it was Carolyn and Tanya that were there? So that they could say, oh, wasn't that a great picture that Carolyn and Tanya did? It was wonderful that they came. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to thank them for coming? But if you don't know that that's who came, which sometimes you do know, and sometimes somebody comes as a guest of somebody else and you don't know who they are.
Or like when they buy a table, you might know the one person who bought the table, but you don't know everybody.
Exactly.
So that's
another way to, invite somebody back again. And I know sometimes people, maybe they were a guest of somebody and they didn't really have a connection to that agency, but maybe they learned something there and, or maybe they contributed, and it might be nice to be able to send a thank you to those folks.
I know when Patty with Bella Magazine, she makes sure she writes your name. She'll take a picture. Okay, and what's your name? And how do you properly spell that? That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, certainly getting spellings of people's names is really important. People have spelled my name in many different ways. There's only 5 letters in that last name, but boy, I've had some interesting spellings. But it's always nice when somebody gets it correct, because then you know they took the time and they cared.
Right.
So they show that they cared. That's also really important. When people take the time to think about what else is there. And so if people want to visit ada.gov, that's a way that people can be inclusive of people with disabilities.
Okay.
And there are temporary guides, which I will make sure that you have access to, so you can put it with this post about this. There are readily achievable ways that people can check out sites that they're going to host events or to make improvements of places that they may have themselves, that they may be a regular site that is having events that they can look at. And then we are a site that people can decide that they might like us to come in and look and take a review of where they're going to have places. We're happy to help give feedback to persons about ways to look at what else could they do for the future of an event. Give feedback to them after an event. How did we do at that event? And not because we want to go out there and make money on ridiculing. That's not what we do. Giving positive feedback.
Constructive feedback.
On what could be better.
You know, that's interesting. I never thought I've done many events myself. I'm going to start doing that, though. Now that I know, I would love to be able to call upon you or someone in this office and say, hey, I'm having this event. Could you just come walk through with me to see if there's, because, it's not the world that I'm in, with disabilities. But, could you come in and walk in and just tell me, what did I miss? I try to be conscientious, but could you just tell me, is this good? And that would be, I'm going to put that in my notes.
And even another way to look at it too is, obviously CIL can't be everywhere. We're a lot of places, but we can't be everywhere all the time. But even if there was a video shot that was taken, that we could look at it with you afterwards if we can't be at the event beforehand. But we'd be happy to talk about things ahead of time. We'd be happy to look at spaces that you're thinking about having an event. But there is a temporary guide that does exist about what kinds of things you have to look at and consider ahead of time. Are there ramps? Are there parking spaces? Are there bathrooms? Is there the heights of tables, the spaces at the table? Where do you set somebody who's going to be using a wheelchair at a table? Like, as an example, we don't put a person who's using a chair at the leg of a table. And why? Because they can't pull in. That's another little thing to pick up, because you don't, like I said, I've done many events and I never thought about the legs of the table. Right. That's a good tip there too. There's all different kinds of things like that. Or as another example, if you're serving a meal and you know that there's people that use a chair, as an example, and they carry their food back to their seat. So in the line, if you're having a buffet, being able to offer to somebody, do you need any assistance? Would you like any assistance? Sometimes somebody may bring their care provider with them and they may be all set. And it's up to them to tell you, no, thank you, I'm all set. Or it may be that the person that's with them is their spouse and they may say, oh, that is so great, I never get a break. And look, now I have a break. Or it might be that somebody doesn't have their care provider that day, and now you made their day that they actually get to eat at their event because you're going to be providing that assistance. Or it may be that, you have this deluxe meal that you're bringing out and it's going to look beautiful how you're going to display it. However, if it doesn't come out cut for that person, they won't be able to eat. And if they knew that you were going to offer to them to be assistive, now they would be able to eat. So those are just like little things that would be different. Or providing straws. If you have straws, even though we're like, we don't want straws because we're going to be environmentally correct.
So we have paper straws.
There are paper straws. But a person with disability might not be able to drink something if you didn't have a straw available. If maybe they forgot their straw. A lot of people with disabilities who do require a straw in order to drink something will bring their own straw. But maybe they didn't have one that day. But you notice that you haven't seen them consuming a beverage. You might be able to say, I think we have some straws in the back. And we might be able to offer you a straw. Then that would be
another thing
helpful.
I'm definitely going to write down. You're just full of
there's all kinds of little things. But you can't, each person may not be able to do everything, but some of these things are like things we could put on a list that would be helpful.
Right.
And then one of the reasons that we provide ASL as an example for somebody who would need it is because American Sign Language is not the same thing as English. It is a foreign language.
Right.
It is different than, when I say it's foreign, it's not the same as English.
Right.
And so somebody who learns to speak sign is not learning the same as English. And so even if we offer captioning, it isn't the same.
Right.
And so if somebody needs the sign language, then we want to be able to provide sign language.
Well, my question for sign language, it is a different language. So I don't know if this is a dumb question or not, but sign language is the same in any language. So sign language, so is English sign language is the same as Spanish sign language? No, it's different too?
It would be different also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If somebody was needing that. Now,
Okay.
I mean, and there are, here in the United States, the sign language is American Sign Language,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody was over in France, they're going to be signing in French.
So there's different dialects of sign language also. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So but there is, the majority of people are going to be doing ASL here in the United States because that's what's taught, right?
Okay.
So then there's also going to be individuals that learn at different levels of sign. So not everybody speaks the same level of sign. Just like if we go to a different part of the country, we speak different dialects of English, right? So different people learn different amounts of sign as well.
Right.
So we have to think about that also. So even though our televisions might have captioning, some people are going to understand more of the captions than others.
Right.
Because they understand different levels of English. So there's different pieces there. And we can't make assumptions.
Right.
Because what do we do if we assume things, right? So we try not to do that, right? So we try to make sure that we're consistent in being able to ask people what we can do to be helpful.
I wanted to remind our listeners that this is a totally listener-supported station. So if you're getting value out of this, please like and subscribe. That would go so far in helping us continue to bring you great content like this.
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn, we've covered a lot of things. I already feel like I've gotten a lot of great tips and tricks from you. But give me your top 3 tips that I could make note of for my next event.
So your first thing would be look at your space ahead of time. Try not to overcrowd it. Try to be cautious and be thoughtful of the fact that in every group, there's going to be people with disabilities. You may not always be aware because a lot of disabilities are hidden. But if you are thinking ahead, there are going to be people with disabilities, then that will be helpful to making sure that your environment is inclusive.
Right.
And that you can always contact the CIL, and we're happy to be helpful. And whether it's here in our Northwest Panhandle region, which is where we are at 850-595-5566, or contacting us at info@cilnwf.org. That's how you can reach us. But if you're not in our region, we'd be happy to connect you to your local CIL. We would be happy to assist. And if we don't know the answer, what we're able to do is connect you to those who would have the answer. Right. And then, of course, you can always visit ada.gov to get more information if you would like to. We often know the answer, not because we're know-it-alls, but just because we've been doing this, like we said, 45 years.
Yeah.
But we also can connect you to those who often know the answer if we don't know it. And there's nothing worse than being sued for something because you could have had the answer.
Right.
So we would like to prevent that from happening for anybody.
Right.
And we can help make that happen by assisting you to have the right information.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I've learned too about CIL is that one of the biggest thing is information.
Yes.
Is helping give you information and connect you with resources.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And sometimes you might just need to be lent something.
Right.
We might have what you need to have your event be successful. Whether that's maybe you find out that somebody's coming to your event and the event has a ramp, but somebody who's coming can't walk very far and they would like to borrow a wheelchair, but that event space doesn't have one. Right. Well, maybe it's that you would like to borrow a wheelchair. Maybe that's how we could be helpful. Let us help you make your space more accessible.
That's great. We just did the 45th anniversary soiree, and it was such a smashing success. I had so much fun there.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of that event?
Oh my goodness. My favorite part of the event was hearing from Sue Strawn, I think.
Oh.
Because Sue is such a strong advocate for the community at large. And I think that what she reminded us was taking the time to listen and to be kind to each other and make sure that we include everybody. I think those are the three strongest pieces. While she shared other information that was also very important, and maybe there were things that she shared that other people didn't know. There was a lot that she shared, of course, that because we are CIL that we knew. There was just that piece that I think she touched the heart of so many people in the room.
She's a great speaker.
Yes, she is. And of course, it was great to have all our volunteers, of which Tanya was one of our volunteers, and we so appreciated that. And all of my team from the center being there and making the event go so smoothly. It was very important, and all of our volunteers and all the delicious food from all of our vendors.
Oh gosh, yes. There was so much food, and it looked all great, but I was running around so much. I got a little tiny piece at one point, but I didn't get to get very much. But I did not get to sample nearly enough.
Yes,
nearly enough.
Yes, I didn't either, but it was. I know that I heard from lots of people that they enjoyed all of the great food as well, and so all of the vendors that came and supported us, we appreciated their being there.
Oh yeah,
so that makes a big difference.
So smorgasbord of food.
We had it at our venue, which was great to have it over at Culinary Productions. And the ice cream that we had from AJ's, and
I love them.
And we had some food that was there from so many of our vendors. Anyway, but they were so generous as well. And we had many significant donors. And we had help from many folks that were just fabulously assistive to us as well.
Yes. And apologies if we don't name everyone, because it was definitely a group effort, and everybody did such a great job. Yeah. Real quick, I want to turn back to our listeners and let them know that this podcast is syndicated, so it's on all podcast platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music. It's like 10 different podcast platforms. If you click the link, it'll take you to the link tree, which will show you all those. Listen on your favorite platform, but if you want to see our beautiful faces, it is also on YouTube.
Yes, and then on YouTube, they can then click on some of the links to get to the resources.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, in the show notes for all the podcasts and everything, I'll make sure to link CIL and all the different resources. I love this. And that's what I love about this podcast. It's about getting to know people in the community a little bit better. And even earlier, I was talking with Sarah Ivy of Habibi Coffee. And I've worked with her on events. I've known her for a year or more now. And I learned so much about her on the podcast. Right. So you've given me even more to think about.
Well, there's always more that we can learn. That's one of the things that I love to be as well, is an ongoing learner. Right. So you had asked me earlier, what's something about you? And I never stop learning. I think we can all keep learning. Right. And that's something that we can do, is by being kind to each other and being open to learning, we just keep learning more. And that's a way that we can be engaged with each other. So that is definitely words of wisdom, but I would like to get the one thing, words of wisdom, that you would like to leave our listeners with. That was really good too. I would say just come visit us here at CIL. You can come in and see us online or in person. Come visit us at CILNWF.org and find out all the more about us and see about working with people with disabilities. We can use you, your help, your time. And if you would like to support us, we welcome that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Carolyn, for being with me today.